Hey. So if you're watching this, I assume that you like anime. But don't get your hopes up, because what we're going to be talking about today is nothing far from a complete and utter dumpster fire. So to give some context and start things off, do you know what Death Note is? You know, one of the most popular anime in the history of ever, and honestly one of my personal favorites. A story so deep and rich that you just get lost in the story. About a boy who gains power from a notebook that kills people, given to him by a death god, and then he tries to become God himself. Yeah, this is oddly similar to that, but way worse. You see, we're going to be talking about Platinum End. You see, it was made by the same guy who made Death Note, and I have no idea what my man went through to create this. Granted, I'm talking about the same guy who gave Donald Trump the Death Note. But we're going to be going into a deep dive of this anime and just how fucking dog shit it is. Because I watched it, and honestly, I need something to come out of that pain and suffering. Also, before we get started, just want to take a moment to warn everyone, you know, this is made by the same guy who made Death Note, so it's got some adult themes to it. So if you're a young lad, get out. So to start this story off, we follow our main character, Mirai. One of the most unlikable main characters you'll ever meet, but we'll get to that later. But as this anime opens, we see Mirai being, like, super depressed. Long story short, his family died, and now he lives with his abusive aunt and uncle. Because of this, he tries to unalive himself and jump off of a building. But while he's mid-fall, an angel from high above saves him before he hits the ground. I wish she didn't. And she claims that she exists to make him happy and try and cheer him up. Followed by Mirai telling her to fuck off. Then the angel is like, but what if you could fly, or make people fall in love with you with a red arrow? What? But you can only have one! Give me both. Okay.
I can't choose between those two, so give me both.
Huh?
Then I'll consider it.
Okay, then I'll give you everything.
After this, Mirai now has the ability to fly and mind control people, kind of. But he gets super concerned about people seeing him with wings now. And it's at this moment you're gonna see the start of a pattern. Mirai was granted powers by an otherworldly being that only other people with otherworldly beings can see. It's Ryuk. It's fucking Ryuk. That is Ryuk. It's literally fucking Ryuk. He can't move on! Anyway, Mirai messes with his powers for a while and is, like, no longer depressed. 'Cause that's how that works.
Since you're faster than the human eye now, you can steal anything you want.
What?
And the arrow is amazing too. Bottom line, if you shoot someone with it, you can make them fall in love with you just like that.
Hey, red alert! Red fucking alert. I thought they were an angel. But she's out here, like, encouraging stealing and forcing people to fall in love with you against their will? I don't know what's going on up in heaven, apparently, but it's way different than what we fucking thought. But after the angel just, you know, casually suggests mass theft, they just drop this.
They killed people in the past.
Huh? They killed someone?
They killed your family years ago and made it look like it was an accident.
After this, Mirai uses his red arrow to get the truth out of his aunt, to which he admits that the angel was telling the truth, to which clearly Mirai makes the most logical, calm and collected, calculated decision. Yeah, he makes his aunt and uncle fight and kill each other. After that, Mirai and the angel, who says her name finally, Nase, go into hiding in a hotel room. To which Mirai proceeds to tell Nase, hey, I don't want to break the law and shit. Stop encouraging me to do bad stuff. I don't want to do that. No, 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 no. Followed by Nase saying, yeah, I guess. But you could kill your aunt and uncle's kids. You also have an arrow that just, like, straight up kills people. It's called a white arrow. Dude, Nase is just a straight up menace. Ryuk just wanted to, like, play fucking Mario Golf. She wants to commit crimes! Mirai quickly rejects this idea, saying, you know, he doesn't want to become a mass murderer. After that really deep philosophical debate, then Nase just decides now is a really good time to just drop, oh hey, by the way, you're actually a candidate to become God. Because God's dying. And you're a God candidate. Yeah. You know, Mirai, the guy who just tried to off himself. But then right after we find out about God dying, we jump cut to a fucking Power Ranger. Go, Power Rangers! And trust me, we will be seeing this bastard a lot. But so the episode ends with the Power Ranger killing some guy that's having a lot of sex. And with that, we have finished episode 1. And I am exhausted already. So far, you know, this doesn't look like exceptionally bad if you really think about it. Like, there's definitely more, like, if this was, like, you compared this to other episode 1s, like, you could definitely think of worse animes off the top of your head. But it gets worse, just bear with me. Start of episode 2, we find out that the guy that the Power Ranger killed was just another god candidate who was using a red arrow to sleep with a lot of women. So heads up, only people who try to off themselves can become god candidates because they know the true problems of the world. And the reason why all god candidates are in Japan is because of the disproportionate suicide rate. That is actually the reason. Shortly after Mirai finds out this information, he finds himself near a store being robbed. I don't think it's ever specified what kind of store, but quite frankly, I don't give a fuck. And wouldn't you know it, the fucking Power Ranger comes in and beats the robbers' asses. But with everyone in awe, he proclaims that his name is Metropoliman. They never explain how he came to name himself that, but that's his name. And he is here to defeat 12 opponents. Wouldn't you know it, that's how many other god candidates there are. Immediately, Mirai tells Nase to get the fuck away, so that way Metropoliman won't see her in the crowd and see that he's a god candidate. And then quickly escapes the scene. With Mirai and Nase now hiding in another apartment, talking about what to do. And Mirai asks Nase, hey, can you, like, revoke my god candidate status? And Nase gives the eloquent answer of, nuh-uh. And then Mirai just being like, well, shit. And this is where we randomly learn about the angel hierarchy. But follow with me, I'm actually going to have to kind of explain this, so that way the rest of me talking about this series makes sense. There are 3 types of angels. Second rank, who can only give you wings or a red arrow. First rank, who can give you wings and a red arrow. And special rank, who can give you both a red arrow, wings, and a white arrow. But yeah, remember these rankings, I will not explain them again, and you're going to need this knowledge for a large chunk of the story to make sense later on. After the hierarchy is explained, Nase and Mirai start talking about some girl that he likes at school for some reason. Her name's Saki. I don't know how this is relevant to anything right now, but oh, okay, she's a god candidate. Okay, that's a horrible way to introduce a character. Anyway, plot twist. She shot him with a red arrow. Now Mirai is madly in love with her, and Saki's like, hey, go wait in my room until I'm done with school. Cause, you know, that's clearly what's important right now. Turns out the only reason that he got shot with a red arrow is because her angel, Revel, is only second rank, so he could only give her red arrows or wings. So he wants to use Mirai as her wings, so that way she's more safe. But then Mirai flies her around, and they go on like a slight tangent about being childhood friends or whatever, and then land back in her room. Are you bored yet? Me too. But then Revel is like, hey, by the way, Metropoliman wants to kill Saki. Alright, pause. Back to learning the rules of this dog shit anime. You see, if you kill a god candidate, you can take their wings and arrows, right? And you just get more powerful. or you can give those to someone else. Makes sense? I hope that was self-explanatory enough. Certainly self-explanatory enough for there not to be any plot holes about that, right? Revel, Saki's angel, had a plan of either A, Mirai kills Metropoliman and gives Metropoliman shit to Saki, or Metropoliman kills Mirai, and Mirai's shit goes to Saki, which doesn't make sense by the own rules of this universe. It's technically not a plot hole because it didn't happen, but it just means Revel's an idiot. But then after Nase calls Revel out on his plan, he's just like, what can I say? I'm a rascal. Then they decide to all work together until Metropoliman's just no longer a factor, with heavy, not subtle connotations that Mirai and Saki are both into each other. Then we jump to Metropoliman, you know, saving the day again, because he's just the greatest hero ever, duh. And then he goes to his evil-ass lair and is like, why have no god candidates revealed themselves to me yet? With his angel being like, maybe it's because you want to fucking kill them publicly, and you disclosed that information to their face. And Metropoliman going, damn, I think you're right. And then Metropoliman is like, you know what? I have a plan. Jump cut time! Apparently Mirai has been tied up in Saki's room for 30 days until the Red Arrow's effects wear off. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but yeah, Red Arrow effects only last for 30 days, and then they, it doesn't, like, affect them anymore. And I have, like, several questions about why this makes no sense, but let's get down to the main one. So it's specified that this is Saki's house. Straight up. Not a random apartment. Not somewhere else. This is Saki's home. And she is 15 years old. Where the fuck is her parents? Cause let's say, okay, like, let's think about this. Like, let's say that her parents have been shot with a red arrow. Before this, for them to be okay with, like, how she's been acting. Like, maybe she's doing, like, worse in school. Like, she has to have shot them with the red arrow for them not to have, like, questioned anything that's going on. But now the 30 days are up for them 100%. And they haven't found Mirai? Like, they haven't thought about the man tied up in her room and hasn't left in 30 days. Does he just think that kids don't have parents? Suddenly, the TV dramatically turns on, with Metropoliman sending a message to all the god candidates, like, hey, I want to peacefully resolve this in the stadium. Mirai and Saki are like, bullshit, and then go watch the event from afar. They both sit there watching with thousands of people in the stadium, you know, also watching, just an interest about what's about to happen. Metropoliman appears and is standing completely still. And out of nowhere, yellow and blue Power Rangers appear out of fucking nowhere. And they're like, we're gonna stop you, Metropoliman, and then shoot him with the red arrow. But plot twist, it didn't work. I don't know if you could guess that. Then the episode starts with Metro Blue and Metro Yellow challenging Metropoliman. Why are we actually assembling the Power Rangers? They quickly find out that it was a trap and that the guy standing there was just someone wearing Metropoliman's armor, already shot with a red arrow. But instead of running away because they're clearly at a disadvantage, they provoke Metropoliman into appearing. Like, why? Like, this is not smart. Like, they try to make it out to be clever, but it's just stupid. They're clearly doing what he wants. And it's like... And then we quickly get a flashback to their backstory. Because, you know, we asked for that. And it turns out that they got kicked out of college, you know, down on their luck. And they were both gonna kill themselves with each other. And then Angel saved them. But then after we find out about their backstories, we see Metropoliman on the Jumbotron fucking explaining his plan, you know, explaining how it went down. Really bad Death Note style. His plan was that there was a fake him in the middle of the stadium. It's not that complicated. Afterward, a little girl, who's also a god candidate, tries to join Metro Blue and Yellow, because she's scared of Metropoliman and wants the protection/support. And then she's kidnapped immediately by Metropoliman. Like, actually no time passed by. He was on that shit. And then you wouldn't guess what happens after that. Metro Blue.
Okay, best out of 3 or just 1? Best out of 3. Best out of 3. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. It's you.
Shit!
It's you. Yeah. Side note, I just won rock, paper, scissors, and now someone else in my house has to pick up the pizza for dinner. Metro Blue and Metro Yellow call for help. They're like, come on, we gotta stand against this guy. He's pretty evil. And you know who shows up? More fucking Power Rangers! Where is everyone getting these fucking high-tech suits? Since Metro Blue and Metro Yellow have now assembled the Power Rangers, their guard is pretty low at that moment. And since their guard is low, Metro Man quickly shoots Metro Blue and Metro Yellow with red arrows. And after he shoots them, he reveals, you know, that he switched places with his double. It's one of the few kind of halfway decent parts of the show, because like you can actually see it happen before he reveals it, like on a cam. And then, for the sake of it, Metro Man reveals that the other Power Rangers were just people that he paid to help him out. Oh, also, after he says that he hired them, he reveals where they got the costumes from. The local superhero store. The local superhero... Did I say that right? The local hero store? Metro Man quickly kills Blue and takes his wings and arrows. Then proceeds to toy with Metro Yellow, showing, like, the limits of the red arrow, and how he can't make Yellow kill himself, because Yellow hasn't done anything to wrong him. So Metro Yellow tries to fly away from being shot, but then dies anyway, because Metro Man is a cold-blooded fuckhead. As this is going on, Mirai is having a debate in his mind about whether or not to save the little girl or remain hidden. And as he's having that mental debate, Metro Man prepares to shoot the little girl, with Nase just randomly appearing and is like, bitch, you ain't gonna kill any more god candidates using this method, seeing as you've already killed 3 and everyone's too scared of you now. Followed by Metro Man going, aight, also my angel is hotter than you. Nase then says, welp, I feel nothing about human death, so you're a loser, goodbye. After the very eventful day at the stadium, Saki tells Mirai that she hates Metro Man. To which Mirai says, I can't hate anyone.
I just couldn't. I'm not even capable of hating anyone.
Like, Mirai's whole thing up to this point has been hating negative emotion. But come the fuck on, man! He just killed a kid! You can't hate him for that? Come the fuck on, that's pathetic! After this, another god candidate comes knocking on the door. We refer to him as the GOAT. He quickly tells Mirai and Saki to shoot him with a red arrow so that way they can confirm that he comes in peace. But the Nase is just like, nah, I trust this guy. Then we meet the best character in the entire fucking show, MUKAIDO. He relays that his moment of becoming a god candidate was giving up on life because he was dying of cancer. And then MUKAIDO explains that he doesn't even want to become god. He literally just wants to be with his family and be happy. But he also knows Metro Man is up to no good and he can't stand by and let Metro Man become god. He then offers to make Mirai and Saki costumes because he's a costume designer, and heads out saying that he'll see them again soon. I love this man because he's a simple man who just loves his family. And you can't get more basic than that. But that's all you need to stand out in a show as bad as Platinum End. After this, we cut to Metro Man in high school. He's finishing a test and his friend walks up to him. And I need you to pay attention to this interaction.
Wanna do some babe watching again?
I suppose. Do you have some place in mind?
Let's go check out the middle school today. Let's go check out the middle school today. Let's go check out the middle school today.
Why am I subjecting you to this? For real though, it gets a lot worse. After that, Kanade, Metro Man's real name, asks his friend, if you could wish for anything in the world, what would you wish for? And his friend wishes for nuclear weapons to go away. I can understand that. And then he wishes for all ugly women to disappear. Those are clearly on the same level. Yeah. Yeah. And the funny part is, like, Kanade is alarmingly on board with this idea.
How about getting rid of all the nuclear weapons on the planet?
All right, that's more like it.
Oh yeah, and I wish for all ugly girls to disappear. Huh?
I approve of those wishes.
Now, after that nothing burger of a conversation, we get some Metropolitan lore. And, you know, if you had to guess what his motivations were, you couldn't. You just couldn't. He fucking Han Solo'd his sister and wants to bring her back to life when he becomes God. After that reveal, we get a little math explained to us that if you add 2 arrows together, you know, can shoot farther. Okay, thank you. After that scene, we go back to the main trio, where MUKAIDO is just randomly drops, hey, by the way, I know this kid is a God candidate, and he was at the stadium. That will never be important for the rest of this video. Episode 6. Gonna be real, I don't even really want to talk about this episode, but, you know, here's a timestamp if you want to skip ahead. But, yeah. Alright. Episode 6 starts off with us learning that you can give wings and arrows to people who aren't even God candidates, and Metropolitan gives a serial killer wings and arrows. This is a great start. And with these powers, Metropolitan pretty much just lets her roam free, and only kill ugly girls, and has sex with them. Anyway, moving on from that very seriously uncomfortable can of worms. And then we jump cut to the trio, where MUKAIDO's like, hey, what if we go and kill the serial killer, and then, you know, maybe a Metropolitan will appear, and then we'll kill Metropolitan. And, you know, this is like a really good idea, because Metropolitan's already like a killer, and he's giving serial killers abilities to kill more people. But Mirai really doesn't want to kill anyone because all life is precious and you shouldn't kill anyone. I hate him. I'm halfway through this fucking script! And, like, I get where he's coming from, but, like, dude, you're not fucking Batman. You don't need this moral high ground. He's killing people! Kill him! And after this, MUKAIDO's like, alright, well, what would you do if Metropolitan was gonna kill Saki? And then Mirai freaks out, because he has no fucking clue what he'd do. Answer. Kill him. Boom. Bang. Done. Ah! After that, we jump cut to MUKAIDO, you know, with his family, with the news playing of, you know, Girl A, the serial killer, leaving a body on top of a really large tower. Afterwards, MUKAIDO gathers a bunch of firearms that he has in his house, and drops one of, like, the hardest speeches in the entire show, where he's just like, hey, I don't want to be a hero. I don't need to be a hero, but I need to kill Metropolitan, so that way I can be a good father to my family, and keep them safe. Anyway, jump cut to Girl A dumping another body on top of the tower. MUKAIDO then plans to lure Metropolitan by confronting Girl A alone, and after that, Mirai could swoop in and help. After telling Mirai and Saki that plan, he reveals that he's made Mirai's suit already, as just something to help hide his identity and just as protection. MUKAIDO also states that he will kill Girl A if given the chance, not letting her harm any more girls. And then right as they show up, the most amazing thing happens. Metropolitan blows up the building in an attempt to kill MUKAIDO, and Girl A dies in the explosion. Yes! Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I spared you from so many details about Girl A, because I was so fucking uncomfortable every time that they were on screen. But of course, the legend himself, MUKAIDO, survives this blast. I mean, who would have guessed any different? But with that, you kind of expect how the rest of this would play out, because this anime hasn't been super special up to this point. I mean, it's an average anime fight. I mean, they talk philosophy, have a little tussle, main character gets an emotional power-up. The main female character isn't in the fight because, you know, anime's allergic to writing women. But there's actually one thing worthy of note here that I didn't notice my first time watching this anime. They play the most banging dubstep known to man during the entire fight. I was not ready to just start breaking it down during the fight. And to make it even a little better, Mirai and Metropolitan Man are going at it using angel abilities, you know, red arrows, white arrows, wings, but Mukaido just pulls out the strap and just busts multiple caps into Metropolitan Man, and that shit is really funny to me. But of course, Metropolitan Man isn't dead, his suit's like bulletproof, and he runs away. But the dubstep did make me realize something. Every time someone like appears on screen or disappears off screen using their wings, they drop a sick dubstep bass drop every time. Who wrote that in? Who's the mega dubstep nerd in the sound department, and I want to talk to him and tell him that I love him. Now that fun's gone, the rest of the episode plays how you'd expect it to. Everyone's comforting Mirai, you know, for being a little bitch who can't kill a mass murderer. And Saki, hyperfixates on the fact that someone said that, you know, she makes Mirai happy. Because clearly that's all women think about. Thank you, anime. Anyway, then this happens.
Hey, he's back. Huh? Who? You know, your stalker.
Hey, yo, dude! Chill! No! That is actually not okay. If I saw that, I'd shit myself. No, that is actually grade A stalking. Get the fuck away, dude. After Mirai stalks the shit out of Saki, we see Kanade's pedo friend, who has already put 2 and 2 together that Kanade is Metropolitan Man. Anyway, that's actually not what I wanted to focus on. Look at this man's design real quick. It's fucking Light Yagami. Why is this guy still making manga if he can't get over his past work? Anyway, it's time for me to summarize an entire episode in just a few sentences. So, we've never known up to this point why Saki tried to off herself, which made her become a god candidate. And the reason she tried to off herself is because she called Mirai Stinky. And that's not an exaggeration. So apparently one time in middle school, Mirai was being made fun of and bullied. And a bunch of kids were, you know, calling him Stinky and holding their fingers up, holding their nose like this, like, ah, you stink. And she didn't even actually call him Stinky. She just joined in plugging her nose. And that led to her trying to off herself. I love good character writing. Yeah. Anyway, after a very ridiculous 20-minute episode of learning about Saki calling Mirai Stinky, we actually get an emotionally impactful scene for once in this entire anime. So remember, Mukaido has cancer, and was kind of preparing to see his family off for a time. And so he actually handmade a wedding dress for his daughter ahead of time, because he's a costume designer. And that was going to be like something he left behind for her after he passed. And she finds it and, you know, asks him why he's getting ahead of himself making it now. Because, you know, she's only like 4 or 5. As she says that, you know, he's like, oh, I guess I was just getting ahead of myself, you know, kind of not exactly saying I'm gonna die from cancer soon. While the mom is crying while doing the dishes during that whole interaction. And this is why he's, like, actually the best character in the show. Because, like, the show is actually just not good. And he's, like, the hidden gem. Because his scenes that he has with, like, his family and stuff like that do actually kind of hit. But that's the only thing in this anime that hits at all. But after that very serious and impactful moment that we just shared, together, we meet this guy. We'll be seeing a lot more of this JoJo's Bizarre Adventure ass looking character. But for now, all you need to know is that he's looking for someone, but we don't know who yet. And after we learn that he's looking for someone, he kills someone that Mukaido has used a red arrow on. But after we meet that ugly motherfucker, we jump cut to the main crew, and they're all living in a church now, to, you know, keep their family safe from what's coming. How very on theme of them. Oh! And then it turns out Saki's costume was just finished. So we get to now see what her costume's gonna be. Oh, she's a cat girl. Why are they just checkboxing every fucking anime stereotype ever? Why? Anyway, Mukaido's arrow returns to him, tipping him off that something bad is happening. To which he tells Saki, who he just gave the suit to help them fight and stuff, stay put, me and Mirai will deal with it. Anyway, Mukaido and Mirai go to Mukaido's house to go make sure that his family's okay, to which they spot that ugly motherfucker from earlier. And Mirai tussles with the ugly guy while Mukaido goes inside the house to go see if his family's okay. To which Mukaido sees that his family is missing, and also sees that wedding dress torn to shreds. Which, like, they didn't have to do. That was just a dick move. After that, the ugly guy escapes Mirai and says some cryptic shit like, the bait has been set. And then reveals that he has Mukaido's family trapped. Now, before we go any further, I just need to, like, go on a small tangent about something. So there's been, like, this pretty heavy theme during this entire video about, like, how this is just reskinned Death Note, but worse. And they have that same, like, pre-commercial screen. You know what I'm talking about? Like in Death Note, like before a commercial break and after a commercial break, it'd show like a page from the Death Note, like a rule from it. And it was kind of cool. And they tried to do that with this as well, but it's shit like, you fly really fast with wings, or a red arrow is really fast, and it's like not interesting, and I just wish that they didn't even attempt to try and recreate that. But you know, it's not like that's a big deal or anything, but just to keep on theme with this being like bad and opposite Death Note, I thought I might as well mention it. Anyway, back to the actual anime at hand. Time to learn about the world's most powerful incel. This fucking guy. Hajime. So he is literally the ugly barnacle. He was so ugly, everyone died. But no, for real, he was so ugly that is the sole reason why he tried to off himself. And then his angel saves him, yada yada. And he's like, all I've ever wanted was a girlfriend, but women won't even look at me. They won't talk to me. And then he uses a red arrow on some high school girl, and kisses her. But then he sees himself in the mirror and freaks out at how ugly he is and runs away. And then he proceeds to run away and get plastic surgery. To which, like, lore-wise, they're trying to make it out that he's, like, really hot now because he had plastic surgery. You can't lie to me. He's not. He is still fucking ugly. Anyway, then he tries to talk to a girl, and then fumbles the bag really bad because he can't talk to women because, you know, he's an incel. But yeah, then he runs away crying, goes home, and he's like, he doesn't know what to do now. And then he sees Metropolitan on the news, and like he's like, oh my god, he was born naturally hot and rich? I gotta worship this guy! Which is a very odd reaction to seeing a rich and handsome person, but okay. So he tracks down Metropolitan and begs him to become his servant. To which Metropolitan uses him to try and take care of Mukaido and Mirai. To which we cut back to Mukaido, who gets tipped off by Metropolitan where his family is, which is a very obvious trap, but Mukaido has no choice but to go make sure his family's okay. To which Mukaido and Mirai immediately go there, and Mukaido gets trapped immediately. Mukaido, you were the only thing that makes this show watchable. You cannot be putting yourself in dangerous situations like this. To which Mukaido asks if his wife has been shot with a red arrow, asking like, do you love anyone else? To which she hasn't. And while Mukaido is, you know, doing that, Hajime overhears and is like, well, love? Women won't even talk to me! Also, suddenly Mirai can kill now? Like, he just goes for the kill shot on Hajime, and it's never elaborated on again. So Mirai and Hajime fight for a bit, to which Metropolitan appears, and Mirai is like, oh, I have the disadvantage. Well, what do? I run inside of the trap. What a smart character. Then Mirai has a plan and tells Mukaido, hey, dog, we gotta fly faster than the human eye so that they can't shoot us. And so they do that. And not only that, they go so fast that they try to convince the enemy that they actually left the box. This leads to a sequence where Hajime keeps calling Metropolitan like, are you sure they're still there? Yes. Are you? Yes. For sure? Yes. And the main takeaway I got from that section is that Metropoliman sleeps in a fucking sci-fi tube. What did his parents do for a living? Is that ever specified? During all of this, we get a small Saki arc where Revel has been trying to rank up as an angel, so Saki can get wings. During this, Revel sheds a tear, feeling like he can't help Saki at all, and this causes God to go,
"Wow, you actually have emotion? Here's a rank up. Enjoy your victory royale."
And now Saki has wings. So Saki arrives and tries to plan with all of the angels on how to help, which leads her to shooting Hajime with a red arrow. And the scene that plays after that, I hate so much. Essentially, Hajime sees Saki and goes, "Oh my god. Woman!" And then fights an inner battle for his love between Saki and Metropoliman, whilst the whole time moaning.
What's going on, Hajime?
After that, he tells Metropoliman he's gotta take a piss, and then goes to see Saki. And Saki tells him to free Mirai and MUKAIDO. And he does. He follows her instructions, but he goes to, like, try and break the containment center. Which really doesn't make sense, because he opened it in the first place. Like, he could just open the door. And, like, even if it's locked, you're telling me that he, the person in charge of the containment, can't unlock it? That's bullshit. Anyway, while Hajime is trying to break them out, Metropoliman rolls up with the squad to try and kill Hajime and Saki. But pretty much the moment that Metropoliman shows up, MUKAIDO and Mirai break free. And one of Metropoliman's goons are like, "Let's fucking kill him!" But Metropoliman's like, "Nah, man, let's let them get to full power." To which, after he says that, MUKAIDO quickly brings his family to a safe place, and then the whole gangs are ready to duke it out right after. But right before they actually start to fight, Metropoliman, you know, asks, "How do you even intend to win? Because, like, Mirai's too scared to even kill someone." To which MUKAIDO shoots Mirai with the red arrow and tells him not to be a bitch. MUKAIDO is the best character in this fucking show. And then immediately, they, like, form a triangle and all shoot each other with red arrows, so that way they can't be shot with the enemy red arrows. But, like, it doesn't make sense that that had to happen in the first place, because we just watched Mirai try to kill Hajime's, like, ass. Like, fuck him up. But then after that, the fight begins. So one of the guys on Metropoliman's side is a major dumbass, and is trying to shoot the guys faster than light with guns. And it goes about as well as you'd expect it to go. Anyway, goon number 2 is some really unnecessarily horny lady who wants to spread a deadly virus that melts people. But she says that she won't if she can test it on Mirai or someone else. So she tells Mirai to land on top of a nearby bridge and slowly walk toward her and make sure that he keeps his wings docked so that he can't escape. So he complies and slowly walks towards her. Our group watches in terror. Oh my god! Get that face away from me! Get away! Get away! Get away! Get away! Oh my god. Oh wow. Anyway, he finally, after 10 minutes, gets to her. And he goes super fast and kills the virus with a white arrow. Which, like, actually makes sense for once. Good job, Platinum End. Oh, also, right after that, MUKAIDO, nuts.
Damn it. I can't last much longer.
And with that, they're trying to, like, get at the fact that, like, MUKAIDO's cancer is suddenly weakening him. But I don't think that's how cancer works. Like, I'm not a cancer expert, but I don't think cancer is stronger than angel heaven magic that is prolonging his life. Because, like, we saw the shape that he was in at the start of him getting cancer. And he was fine after. Like, I don't know why cancer's suddenly hitting him now, but okay. After Mirai kills the virus, he's still a pussy bitch who can't kill the murderous woman. Even after being shot with a red arrow by MUKAIDO, that is actually just a plot hole. Anyway, then he's dealt the world's easiest trolley problem. Millions of innocent people? Or one murderous psychopath? Beats me. Anyway, so while Mirai is being an idiot, she takes the advantage with Metropoliman and goes for an attack with a white arrow and needles. To which Saki freaks out and jumps in front of Mirai, who deflects the white arrow but can't move fast enough to save Saki, who is right in front of him. But then Hajime, who's like super far away, cuts 3 of the 4 needles, missing the 4th one, and sacrifices himself to save Saki. Yeah, that was really cool that like Mirai couldn't do that, but Hajime could, who was like all the way across the fucking bridge. Anyway, but in the process of, you know, cutting the needles and saving Saki, it turns out that he also stabbed the crazy lady. And honestly, it felt amazing when this man died. But after that whole, you know, event, the standoff between Mirai and Metropoliman begins, the final showdown, to which Saki can't help because, you know, she's a woman. Now, I need to point out something. After that episode, the subtitles are gone completely for the rest of the series. Not even the guy in charge of the subtitles could finish the anime. Anyway, so I can summarize this next episode in one sentence. They fucking stand there. For 20 minutes they stand there and talk about their philosophies all episode. Basically just Mirai saying, people need to be happy. And Metropoliman going, fuck the poor people! The only thing we get knowledge on is the way Metropoliman's sister died, which is that he accidentally killed her after finding out she was gonna get a boyfriend. Anyway, odd incestuous relationship aside, we are 1 episode away from being done with this video. But this final episode isn't horrible, mainly because it revolves around MUKAIDO, who is the GOAT. But to start off, Mirai and Metropoliman are facing off Western style, and Mirai remembers he's good at melee randomly, and charges at Metropoliman. He almost hits Metropoliman, only for it to be revealed Metropoliman has already been shot with a red arrow. So he's immune to red arrow attacks, which leaves Mirai in a position of only being able to hold Metropoliman's right hand in the air, cause that's where he shoots his white arrows from. But before Metropoliman can get Mirai off of him, Saki comes in and starts holding down Metropoliman's left arm, causing Metropoliman to freak out and try everything he can to escape. But alas, he cannot. And as Mirai and Saki are holding Metropoliman down, MUKAIDO says, I have to kill him. It's the only thing that'll make me happy. And with Mirai under the red arrow effects, he has no choice but to comply. This leads to the only decent part of the show, with MUKAIDO slowly walking over, weakened from his cancer, to shoot Metropoliman once and for all, with some banger shots. But this goes on for about 8 minutes of just him slowly walking up to Metropoliman. It's really overstretched out, but he finally shoots down Metropoliman. After the fight, we see MUKAIDO in the hospital, unconscious from his medical issues. And finally, after his wife tells him about how much of a hero he is, he dies. And with that was the first half of Platinum End. I'm not talking about the second half. If you guys want that, this video has to perform really fucking well. The second half is infinitely worse, mainly because there's no MUKAIDO, which means there's no good. Like, there's nothing good about the second half of the show. In fact, I went into it knowing that it was bad, and I came out disappointed by the actual ending of the show. Which I think says something whenever you go into it knowing it's bad and still come out disappointed. Anyway, in conclusion, the guy who wrote Death Note, he went down a dark path after COVID. 2 years back to back. I think it was 2020. He released the Donald Trump Gets the Death Note one shot, and then like a year later, he released Platinum End. But this has been the most painful video I've ever had to record. I've been recording the script for 3 hours now, but I appreciate you being here watching. If you want more videos like this, please be vocal in the comments and maybe even subscribe. I would really appreciate that. Just help the video perform better. As you can see, we're not a massive channel, so we can take all the support you're willing to give. I want to take a moment to specify, this video isn't an incentive for you to watch it because of how bad it is. In fact, don't. But, you know, if you do, I'm not responsible for the mental trauma that the serial killer arc gives you. Yeah, but I think that's about it. It's been an honor. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.